Your Dyson is pulsing and telling you that the airways are blocked, even though you can't find a blockage anywhere. You've tried the floor tool, the pipe, the bin opening, and even put a brand new filter on, yet it's still coming up with this fault. I see this time and time again every single week, and this video is going to show you what's caused it, how to prevent it, and then how to resolve it once and for all. So what's causing this issue if there's no blockage in the pipes? Most of the time, perhaps 99% of the time, it's to do with dust buildup that's inside the Cyclone. And don't worry, I'm going to come back to the 1% later. The dust gathers in the Cyclone and even blocks up the channels inside. It shouldn't happen according to James Dyson, but it does. And what's happening then, let's say we've put a brand new filter on, we've turned the vacuum cleaner on, we may get a couple of days use out of it, and then the fault occurs again. And what's happening is, all the dust that's gathered inside the Cyclone is being sucked up into your new filter, and then that's causing the blockage too. So we need to get rid of all the dust inside the Cyclone, and that way we're starting afresh. One way to prevent this from happening, and also it can cure some cases without taking it all apart, is when you're actually emptying the bin, take the bin off, and then outside, away from your neighbour's washing, and not on the windiest day of the year like I've just done it, you need to tap the vacuum cleaner on the inside of your dustbin, just ever so lightly. We're not trying to smash anything to bits, and that should get rid of a lot of the dust that's inside the Cyclone. Before we move on to the part where we're going to take the Cyclone off the vacuum, and don't be scared, I'm not going to do anything that involves any electrical work or do anything risky that might involve you breaking things. Before we move on to that step, if you do have any questions at any point, as always, just drop them in the comments and I'll try my very best to help. So now we're actually going to take the Cyclone off the vacuum cleaner to clean it inside. Make sure all the channels are clear and there's no buildup of dust inside. We're going to need a microfiber cloth, a flat-headed screwdriver, a cross-headed screwdriver, and then this annoying little Torx T8 screwdriver, which is like the star shape. We need one of them as well. Firstly, for safety reasons, we're just going to remove the battery so there's no power to the vacuum. This is a clip-on battery, so it's really easy. If you have a screw-on battery, like on a V10 or an older V11, then there's 3 screws, 2 underneath and 1 at the back that hold it in place. You just need your cross-headed screwdriver for that. Now we're going to take off the bin, and then we're going to remove the filter. Around the back of the vacuum, there are 4 cross-headed screws. We're going to start by taking them out. Then there's a further 2 here and here. We're going to remove them. And then you can pull the Cyclone off the vacuum cleaner. We're not going to be using any water for this process because I don't want people out there wrecking their vacuum cleaners, okay? So we're going to do all this in a nice, safe way. We then move on to the Torx screws. These are at the bottom of the Cyclone part, and we're going to undo those. And then the bottom piece can just be pulled away, and now you're going to get a little bit of dust flying everywhere, so I always lay a towel out to do this. Before we move on to the cleaning, we're going to undo these 3 Torx screws too. They go along the top edge. Now this next bit is probably the trickiest part of it all. And don't be scared if you feel like it's a bit too much for you, just don't do it, we can work around it. You need to get a flat-headed screwdriver, and just on the entrance, on the side of the Cyclone, you just need to go under the grill and just prise this part up ever so slightly and gently. Now we can grab the grill from the other side and we're pulling it off of the Cyclone, okay? This is gonna be a bit tricky. It's not ever so easy, but it does pull. And if you like, just give it a little twist. It does eventually come off. Now that's as far as I'm gonna go with you with taking things apart. We don't need to go mad. We don't need to be getting beginners to do electrical work and stuff like that. We just want to get rid of all this dust that's inside. We're gonna use a microfiber cloth to do most of the cleaning. Also, at some point, you're gonna wrap it around the little screwdrivers that you've got and put it around the inside of the grill and in any gaps that you can't get to. Down the channels especially is a good way to do this. Once you have done this and you feel like most of the dust has gone, we're not going to be eating our dinner off it, so don't go into a mad panic if you can see a little bit of dust in a little crack or something. We're going to put it all back together. Easier said than done, yes, but it all slides back up in reverse order. The grill obviously being the most tricky part. It does eventually line up with the holes around the top and then just pushes up and clicks into position. We can then put the 3 screws back in. These are the longest screws that you've took out. And then the bottom bit, we can push that in and it only goes a certain way. You'll see which way I mean. Put the screws back in that. And then we're going to put all our bin on, our battery on and our filter back on. And we should be ready to vacuum again. If your filter is nice and clean, now you should not get any problems, as long as you've not got any blockages in your pipes that you're not telling me about. If none of this has cured your problem, please don't go mad at me. I'm trying to help. Go back through the floor tool especially and just check that there isn't anything in there that's stopping the flow of air at all. If you literally can't find anything and your pulsing continues, none of this has helped. Well, I'm sorry, but you may fall into the 1% of vacuums that I see. Now, the pulsing on these vacuums is almost slightly quicker than the pulsing that I've shown you on mine. Not noticeably, so I'm not going to do a comparison side by side. It's just slightly different. The reason for this other type of pulsing, in my experience as a vacuum cleaner repairman, is when moisture has got into the motor or the circuit board area. And the most common way I see people get moisture into their motor is when they've not let their filter dry when they've washed it, okay? And they put it straight over the motor, turn the motor on, and it's there, it's instantly, it's next to the filter. It's going to suck in any moisture that's in the filter. And then that causes the same pulsing issue. Now, the cure to this is sadly to buy a new motor unit. They come as a complete thing, so again, no electrical work needed, but they are around £100, £120, depending what model you have and obviously where you live, etc. And that's the only way left to cure the pulsing problem if you've tried all the things that I've discussed in this video. I hope you found my video helpful. Please subscribe to my channel, and also this next video is to show you how to clean your floor tool.